Right, 3 November 2021, and today we've got a very, very quick discussion on the current state of the elections in South Africa. And today I'm going to be joined by two guests, Miss Patience Dzova, Miss Patience Dzova, and Mr. Hilary Pumhu, and all the two of them are here with me in South Africa. So this is going to be an analysis of what is happening with the elections here in South Africa. How are you, ma'am, and how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank
I'm
you.
fine, Mr. Gambako. I'm fine, Mr.
All right,
Gambako. How
good.
are you?
Good, very well. And let's quickly go into this. And first, let me give a background. Let me show the current state of the South African elections. I want to show you what has happened. The ANC has dominated this election across the whole country. So if you look at the dashboard, which I'm going to be sharing here very, very shortly, the ANC has 46% of the vote. You can see that the map is green. So everywhere that you're looking is the ANC, which is green. Then where you're seeing yellow, that is the DA. Here, down here in the Western Cape, that's the DA. And then up here in KZN, there's a mixture. And then if you look at Gauteng, here where we are in Johannesburg, there is a lot of, in fact, it's a mixture of ANC, DA, and also there's a new party called Action SA, which is led by the former DA mayor of Johannesburg, Herman Mashaba. So there's what we call hang councils. There's 54 hang councils. If you look at the bottom here, let me try to make this bigger. There's hang councils where no one has won. There are 54 of those councils, and this is a very, very interesting situation because that means there has to be coalitions. They cannot govern by themselves. No one can govern by themselves. The DA is on 21%. They're coming down from around 24% in 2016 in the last elections. The defining thing about this election is the low voter turnout. There has been a very, very low turnout of 49% here in South Africa. That is the lowest turnout, coming up, I think coming down from around 67% in the last elections. So people did not come to vote in this particular elections. So I think I've given a good background. The ANC, they've got 9 million votes right now with 46%, and the DA has got 4.2 million votes, which is about 21%. The EFF is currently at 559 seats, and they've got 2,092,000, so 2.1 million votes. So this is the situation as it stands right now, with 88% of the votes. And by the end of tonight, there's probably going to be a full result. The full results will be available for the elections here in South Africa. So I want us to go into our discussion, and I want to start with Ms. Patience Dzova. From looking at these results, what is your view? What is your general view of what's happening in South Africa in the local government elections?
Thank you so much. I think, as a ruling party, ANC, they have the strategy of this sweet tongue when they get to people. They know how to talk. They know how to put their words in order, and people are buying it. And the other thing is that I've realized, people are afraid of the corruption out there. So I think they're saying the devil that we know, which is ANC, is better than the devil that we don't know. That's why it's going up like that. That's what I think. Thank you.
Mr. Gambako, your volume has gone low. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, sorry about that. I was saying from your side, Mr. Pumhu, what is your overall view of these elections?
All right. My overall view is this. Uh, that is true. We need to learn when we are conducting these elections, because as opposition party, we always expect to win without doing anything to make us win. That will guarantee us a win. So I think we have to sell ourselves better out there. We cannot just rely on saying people they are tired of a ruling party, so automatically they can vote for us. So we have a lot of job to do, especially like this one, the newcomers like SA Action here in South Africa. They relied too much on finances. They got so much boost financially, so they just thought that because of finance, everything is going to be okay. And the policies they used also they did affect them. So yeah, we need really to be very very much prepared when we are going for an election and not just expecting a walk in the park. So we have a lot of job to do to make sure that as opposition parties, our performance is of higher standards.
Okay, fantastic. So I think let's go through certain key events that occurred in the lead up to these elections. And I want to start with the issue of coalitions. You saw that almost all the councils here, no one had a true majority. So most of these councils, they have to be governed through a coalition. So let's take, for example, Johannesburg. If you look at Johannesburg, Mashaba and his party, they've got about 18% there, and the NC and the DA, they're almost around 30%. So they have to go into a coalition. The kingmaker there is going to be Action SA, who would decide which side they go. Whoever they go with, that is the party that is going to govern. The same thing is going to happen in Tswane, where there has to be coalitions. So there's no particular place where there's been a majority from one political party. Do you think in Zimbabwe it would be possible for parties to govern through a coalition? And I think I want to take that question to you, Ms. Patience Dzova.
Well, I don't think that one will work in Zimbabwe, because our people, our leaders in Zimbabwe, they are so hungry to the extent that they can do anything and everything for them to stay on the position by themselves. So I don't think that will work in our nation. But the only thing that I can say is, if we can work together as people of Zimbabwe, as one nation, as one people, no matter who won those elections, things will change, things will work for us. But it starts where? It starts from our leaders, it starts from our fathers, it starts from our mothers who are on top there. For them to accept that, no, this is what is happening right now. Let's accept that we can work together. Then things will work together.
Okay, so Mr. Pumhu, I want to take this to you. The issue of Poland in Zimbabwe has been very topical. In South Africa, parties that oppose each other, that are totally opposite to each other, like the DA and the NC, they've gone into coalitions before. The EFF and the DA, the EFF and the Freedom Front, they go into coalitions. Why do you think in Zimbabwe it's difficult for a political party like the MDC Alliance to work with ZANU PF or to work with MDCT?
Okay, look, Mr. Gambakwe, the problem we have in Zimbabwe is a politics of hatred. We rely too much on hating each other. We need to score political goals through hating each other. You find that we criticize one another where it is not even necessary. That's where it is even difficult for us to work together. And the other problem is this. we do fight too much. We fight too much as political parties. We fight, and also that fight is going also spreading to the supporters. They also fight together. You find out that an MDC supporter and a ZANU PF supporter, they cannot sit together. They cannot discuss politics together. They can do other things together, but when it comes to politics, they differ. They cannot even reach to a point of an agreement to say, look, for the benefit of the people, let us implement mitigation action so that it will benefit everyone who is in the country. But the situation we have right now, like MDC and ZANU PF want to do better without MDC, and MDC want to do better without ZANU PF. For the credit to goes to them, it's all about being given credit. So we are fighting unnecessarily. So we cannot even speak of coalition in councils. It cannot even work in Zimbabwe unless we change our mindset. Our mindset towards politics is very, very wrong. That's why also we cannot even copy other countries. We can't copy other countries. If you look at our politics, it's a different politics from other nations. We cannot compare us with Zambia. We cannot compare us with Nigeria. Everywhere you go, we have our way of doing politics, of which it cannot even benefit the majority of Zimbabwe, but certain entities.
Okay, I think that's well said. And let us move to the next point. We want to cover a lot of points. Let's now go to the issue of court challenges. A court challenge was launched by Herman Mashaba and Action SA after their name was not put on the ballot paper. And when they lost in the court, they accepted the loss and moved on. Why do you think in Zimbabwe it's difficult for someone like Chamisa and the MDC Alliance to move on? We are 2 years down the line now, and they still haven't moved on from the loss in court. Miss Dzova, can you take that one up? Why do you think it's difficult for our political parties to accept the court ruling?
I think it's difficult for them to accept the court ruling because they just told themselves that because they are opposition part, they have to get whatever they want. You know, like what I've realized is those people like Chamisas, they are seeking attention from people. So by so doing, they are trying to distract people from choosing what they want. So they can never accept any court ruling. And the other thing again is because they are so hungry of power instead of people. They are forgetting that whatever they are doing it for people. They are doing it for the nation. Now, because they need to satisfy themselves, they want everything to be on them. They want everything they want to get everything through fights, through all those challenges. Sometimes the hunger of power is causing them, is damaging them, instead of building themselves. That's what I think.
Okay, fantastic. And I think you have covered it very well there. And Mr. Pumhu, I want to take this one to you. I want to give you a chance. The elections of Zimbabwe, the presidential election has been contested. And there are threats now that there's going to be a contestation of the upcoming elections. Why do you think in South Africa, they don't contest the elections? When the election is over, everyone accepts, like today as we speak, all the political parties are in negotiations for coalitions. Why do you think in Zimbabwe we have all this contestation which doesn't end? Until up to now, Chamisa is refusing to accept that President Mnangagwa won the elections. What can be done to avoid this situation in Zimbabwe, which is happening every election?
Thank you, Gambakwe. Firstly, I think, or as I view it, if someone is refusing to accept the outcome, he is also refusing to move forward. He is also refusing to grow up as a politician. We need to grow. We need to grow. I want to explain something, Mr. Gambakwe, to Zimbabwe also. Just allow me to explain this. If we are in opposition parties, we must know first why we are here as opposition parties. We must also be aware of the challenges in the country. We are like footballers. We have a chance to sit in the terraces to watch others play, and you'll be in a position to know which player is lacking. And if I enter in the field of play, where can I change? What is expected of me if I am to enter, or if I am to be given a chance to enter into the field of play? So, if we are politicians, we already know what are these ruling parties are failing to do. So when we are coming in, we are supposed to change that the ruling party is failing to do, so that people will be hearing our message clearly, will be know exactly as what we are bringing new that is different from others. That is point number one. Number two, allow me to say, if there is a problem of vote rigging in Zimbabwe, we cannot continue the whole life complaining about vote rigging in Zimbabwe. But we must also look for chances. We must also look for ways to upset or to unset this type of vote rigging. We must do our homework as opposition parties and see exactly where the ruling party is rigging, and we fix that. Let me give you the example of the just ended American election in 2020, November 2020. Before then, when Trump won the election, the Democrats, they felt somehow they were robbed the election, but they didn't even go to court. Why? Because there were no evidence enough to overturn the outcome of the election. So what they did, they spent all the 4 years investigating where exactly the problem was. They didn't spend much of the time complaining, going to court, going everywhere. No, they spend much of the time on looking at the problems, or looking at how exactly they robbed the election. And they did exactly that. In 2020, they fixed everything. Trump was not able to rig the election. So that's what we are expected to do as opposition parties, to identify exactly where the problem is coming from and fix the problem before we go into election, so that when we conducted the election, no one will be grieved with the outcome, but will be able to accept the outcome and move forward, so that it will give us the way to move forward, and also the nation to move forward, so that we will not just be kept hostage by the group of people who do not understand exactly what is going on.
Okay, so I think I hear your point. I'm hearing your point that Zimbabwe is perpetually in election mode, whereas South Africa, they have their elections this week. They are going to get their results by the end of this week. Everything is going to be announced. Then they are going to move on. They are not going to stay in election mode. Right? Did I miss something, or can I go to my next point?
Let me say something then.
Okay.
Yes. I was reading the newspapers this afternoon from yesterday. The guys from the EFF, they were discussing among themselves, and they were pointing out where they went wrong, what went wrong exactly, where they needed to fix. So that's type of the maturity that we need in Zimbabwe. They were not pointing fingers on other political parties. No, they were pointing out their failures as to how they can fix that problem and move forward, going forward. And they also say on the 4th, they are going to give their press conference. Julius Malema is going to give his press conference. And there we are going to hear their whole assessment as to how they are going to move forward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pumhu. Now let's move to the next point, which is the point of low voter turnout. Currently, as I said, only about 8 million people voted in South Africa in this current election, which is about 49%. In Zimbabwe, the voter turnout in the 2018 elections was around 45.6%. What do you think can be done? Why are people apathetic about voting, especially in urban areas, especially young people? I want Ms. Dzova to take a chance on this one.
Thank you. I think the both parties, the ruling parties and the opposition parties, they are not giving enough information to young people. They are not teaching young people the good of voting. They are not giving it. As young people, we are expecting a lot. There is a lot of things that we are expecting, but if we are not, if those things are not being delivered, most of the young people, they don't see the need of going to vote. They don't see the need of attending the elections. So I think as an opposition party or the ruling party, what we need to do is to interact with the young people, to hear their needs, to hear what they need, to hear what they want to hear, so that we can deliver what they want to hear. For them, you can't just go to watch soccer. You need to be introduced to soccer. This is soccer. You need information, the right information for you to go and watch the game, to go and watch something else. So this is what is shorting in our ruling parties and in opposition parties. Most of them, they are concentrating with elderly people, of which elderly people, they are getting there. They are getting there. But who is the leaders of tomorrow? Young people are the leaders of tomorrow, but if they don't have information, where are they going? They are going nowhere. So we need to interact with young people. We need to teach them, to give them right information.
All right. So I think I hear that clearly. Young people not interested in voting. And that is the challenge that Chamisa is facing. If you look at Bulawayo, I'm always going back to the case of Bulawayo, where there were 188,000 registered voters. And out of those 188,000 voters, only, I think 160,000 voted. And then about 20,000 voted for President Idi Mnangagwa, which left Chamisa with about 140,000. If everyone in Bulawayo had voted, just the city, inside the city, Chamisa was going to force a runoff. But then that didn't happen. If you look at Harare, Harare was even worse. The voter turnout in Harare was very, very low. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was just around 55%. So most of the young people are not voting in Zimbabwe. But I think the same pattern is repeating here in South Africa. People are losing interest in elections. So let's go to the next point. And I want to look at the issue of a clear brand identity. And specifically, I want to look at the Action SA, which is a new political party. Did you see the branding of Action SA, which was formed less than a year ago? I think Mr. Pumhu, you can take that one.
I'm hardly hearing you there. May you repeat your question, Mr. Gambako? Your volume is very low. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, I think someone called you when we're live, so you might have to exit and come back because that's what happens. Mrs. Dzova, are you hearing me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I was saying, in terms of brand identity, let's look at Action SA. It's a party which was formed less than a year ago.
Yes.
But it has such a strong identity. If you look at the EFF, it has got such a strong identity. If you look at, let's talk IFP, these parties, they didn't do very well. But I think the brand identity of EFF and Action SA, very, very strong. The DA, they've got a new leader who just came in less than 3 months ago. If I'm not mistaken, was just elected now. In terms of Action SA and brand identity, now take the MDC Alliance. They are fighting over the name MDC. There's at least 3, 4, 5, 6 MDCs. Why do you think they can't form a separate identity and have one powerful identity?
Thank you. That same thing. It's me. It's me who did this. It's me who did that. It's me who delivered this. It's me who can do this. It's the same thing that is destroying Chamisa. It's the same thing that makes them not to have the brand name that stands. Because everybody is hungry for power. Everybody needs to be there. Everybody needs to be identified as the leader of the party. Which party? The party is only one. Now they have to separate. They have to go there. They have to do, because they need to be seen. They need to be heard. They need all to be on them. That is the thing. But if you look at what do you call it, EFF, you know, it's a very strong party. They have unity in their party. They have rules and they follow their rules. The thing that Chamisa cannot do in his party, there is a lot of divisions in our people. There is a lot of divisions in the party, and that alone cannot make a party stand, because now people will be confused. Today they have this leader, they want to follow this leader. Tomorrow, no, there is another one. Tomorrow, no, there is this another one. So people, they are tired. People, they are confused. They are confusing people. That's all I can say.
Yes. You know what? I want us to come back to the issue of maturity in Zimbabwean politics.
Yeah.
And I think you're raising a lot of issues there to do with the maturity of Zimbabwean politics. And at the end of the day, I think that is what is also causing poverty in our country, that our politics is so immature and it's not up to the standard of even a country like Zambia. Zambia is very mature compared to Zimbabwe when it comes to politics. In fact, opposition politics, I'm mistaken to say politics, because our opposition parties are the ones with problems. And people keep giving their faith to the opposition parties, but without much success. Let me go to the next point, because I want to move quickly through. I've got quite a number of points to cover here.
Okay.
Let's now look at the issue of funding. If you look at Mr. Pumhu, he raised this issue. Mashaba is a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the ANC, their president is a billionaire. Malema has got a lot of money. In fact, his party is organized. It's got a lot of ability to raise cash. They sell a lot of their branded wear, and they also have money to give to communities. They built houses in Limpopo. Yeah. They gave a Mercedes-Benz to one of the chiefs 2 weeks back as part of their campaign. Do you think political parties in Zimbabwe have got a strategy for funding themselves? Where do I start? Do I start with you, Mr. Pumhu? Is your sound better now?
Yes, it's very good, very clear.
Right. Do Zimbabwean parties have the political funding strategy? Is Chamisa having money to run a campaign? Do people support him from outside the country? The members, do they buy the t-shirts? What's happening in Zimbabwe compared to South Africa?
Oh, they can't.
Yeah, on that one, Mr. Gambakwe, I don't believe in using money when it comes to politics, because politics is about it's something that is from the heart. Just to say, I'm volunteering to lead my people from the heart. So if we just want to splash money, like to show that I'm a binga in politics, it doesn't work. Let's just look at these revolutionary parties that are doing well right now, like ANC. It's because when they started, they didn't start with money. No, they started because there was something that was wrong in the country, and they were all united in one accord, just to see everyone being free in the nation. You find out that some of the leaders, they were just volunteered just to be a part of the politics, just volunteered to rescue the people, to free the people from the oppressors. It was something that they were doing freely. So if you just want to start using money, that's where corruption started. It's like others will just start complaining like they are getting money, others they are not getting money.
Okay, but money
So
is working. Is money not working? If you look at the political parties that are at the top here of the leaderboard, if we look at this leaderboard of South Africa here, let me just display my leaderboard right now. So if you look at these political parties, right, we've got ANC at the top, right? The ANC has got structures across the country. They've got 46%. DA is well funded. There's no political party in the world which is as funded as the DA. They've got so much money, these guys. IFP, you know, it's a party that is based in KZN. Most of their votes are coming from that region. NFP, very small. ICOSA, very small. EFF, as I said, they've got amazing fundraising.
Yes.
And then the rest of the parties, you can see, they become very, very small, or they become local. The independent candidates, they've got very little in terms of votes. So in terms of MDC Alliance, can they realistically win with the way that they don't have funds? You can see that they failed to field election agents. They could not pay. Right now, the election agents were on the ground, were not paid. So money makes a difference. Is that not where they need to start?
Yes.
Yeah, on that one,
can go ahead.
All right. Okay.
You know, the thing is, with our fellow Chamisa, he cannot stand for himself. He's relying on people. He's just a beggar. But the strategy of begging, he's just poor in his communication. He's poor in his communication. And the other thing, when you get the money, who first? Me first. So where are we going with the people who are greedy, with the people who love to feed themselves first and forgetting the people? Money works. That's why you see where EFF dominate, they do things. They work for their people. They show their people that here is the money. This is the promises that we're giving you. So our fellow Chamisa in Zimbabwe, what does he do? He goes to the rural areas, promising people beer, buying beer for people. What does beer do to people? After they are drunk, what they do? They forget. And tomorrow, you know, our fellow party that is ruling, they come with sweet words. So in Zimbabwe, money is needed. They need money. When they go for begging, they need to, to pull their socks, because Chamisa, honestly, he relies on people, and those people always letting him down.
Okay, so, I think let us unpack the portion about what happens to donations. Okay. Because money was donated in the last elections.
Okay.
But then that money did not get to the ground. And I think there's always issue of what happens to the money that the government gives to these political parties as part of the Political Finances Act. Are they using these monies to prepare for elections?
No.
Or what are they using the monies for? So our opposition, are they not being destroyed because they don't have finances to compete against ZANU PF? Now, Mr. Pumhu, I wanted to just wrap up on that subject. Sorry, I think he's not hearing me. So let's continue to...
May you come again? May you come again?
Okay. Right. I think let's move to the next point. I want us to move quickly through these points. There are so many points here. So we've finished this point on funding. Let's go to the issue of the campaign message. The campaign message, the political parties in South Africa, the Action SA was campaigning strongly on corruption, on illegal immigration. They were very strong on that. The DA was campaigning very strongly on corruption, and the ANC was campaigning very strongly on having brought independence to South Africa. Do you think ZANU PF is going to win on the issue of independence? Mr. Pumhu?
Yeah, you see, in Zimbabwe right now, I cannot say much about ZANU PF because we know ZANU PF usually they use many means to win the election. But if we are to fix it first on our electoral body to make it independent, then we can move forward as to say we are going to conduct a free and fair election. This is the party that uses every tool to make sure they stay glued in power. No matter what, look at right now, it is a party that is on sanctions, but they are still continuing winning the elections. So it's like right now there is nothing there is going to stop ZANU PF from winning unless the other political party like ZPAP come with another strategy, better ideology to outsmart or to outclass the ruling part of ZANU PF. But as it is right now, it is relying on one intimidation, two they use the money too much, and others they don't have financial muscle like ZANU PF. So they are using everything to stay glued in power.
I think that is covered. The issue of funds, we covered that, and also we covered the issue of a clear campaign message. What do you think would be the issue now? ZANU PF is campaigning on sanctions. Ms. Dzova, ZANU PF is campaigning on the issue of sanctions. What is the MDC going to be campaigning on?
Thank you. Obviously, MDC is going to campaign for the seat because they want the power. They are going to campaign for the power, and they are going to stand and say sanctions must not go because they are based on that. They want people of Zimbabwe to remain oppressed. They want people of Zimbabwe to remain suffering. So they are going to campaign for the sanctions not to go. They are going to continue campaigning. Vote for us. The power is on us. Vote for us. Doing this for us. Of which this is not what we want right now. Right now we want sanctions to go. We want we want the economy of Zimbabwe to be stable. We want everyone to live a normal life and a better life. That is what we are fighting for right now. Not the power. The power, yes, people need power, but what about the people of Zimbabwe? What about the rest of the nation?
Okay, I think that is quite clear. And then I want to conclude on the issue of accepting the results. And the way that I'm going back to what we said in the beginning. Here, everyone accepts the results. Why do you think it's difficult in Zimbabwe to accept the results for the opposition parties? Tsvangirai never accepted the results on all the times that he won, or he did he was in the election. So he won every time. He says he won. Except I think in the 2013 elections when he was totally defeated. But he always insisted that he won. Chamisa came, he's saying he won the elections. No one seems to accept the results from ZEC. Why do you think the election results here are being accepted?
For me,
you can go ahead. Yes.
All right. I think it has something to do with the upbringing of the party, how they came to picture. When MDC came, they started campaigning using sanctions. They started implementing sanctions, and it was like, this scenario of Zimbabwe is different from other countries. That's why what I've said in the beginning, like what I said in the beginning, it is different. Why? Because it's like the MDC and the Americans, the Europeans, they entered in a certain deal to say, if you don't win the election, don't even accept it. Just accept when you won the election. Because whenever MDC says the election were rigged, there is a what? There's the implementation of sanctions. So I think they entered in some deals or some contracts. I don't know which I don't even know. I understand right now. Why? Because they always denying that we are beaten free and fair. So if you are not beaten free and fair, why did you go into election in the first place if you know that the ground is not equal, is not level? You must be able to, you must stand in the level ground first for you to enter into the fight. So in South Africa, it's very easy to accept the results because everybody knows where he stands. It's like EFF is it's a South African, political party that is backed by South African. Uh, Same to SA Africa, the new political party. It is a party that is backed by the local. There is nothing like foreign international interference into it. It is a party that is stand on its own. So they know their policies. They know where they went wrong. They know what they must do to win the election. That's why you don't see anything like challenging the vote at the courts.
Okay, I think we've covered quite a lot of interesting aspects of this election. And if you look, as we're talking, the numbers have been changing. So if you want to know what happens with this election, you can go to the website that I'm displaying here on the screen. The website, let me enter it for you so that you can, it's results.elections.org/dashboards. So that is the website that we're looking at here. If you want to see the elections as they appear. So let's put that so that everyone can see it on the screen. I want people to be able to see this. You don't have to wait for TV to tell you what are the elections happening. So South Africa, they display their elections in real time. So as the elections, as the results come in, they are put in on the system. Right now we're at 90%. And I want to end with that question, Ms. Patience Dzova. Don't you think our ZEC, they can do better in the way they display results, the way they publish results? For example, we saw the situation that happened in Zambia, which was quite bad in the beginning, but they improved as they went forward. Do you think Zimbabwe can do better with a system like this, which shows each result in a continuous way as they come?
Thank you so much. I think if our fellow Zimbabweans and our leaders can cope this, I think and I believe this will work and it will help everybody to understand and see what is really going on. Unlike being told from behind doors, from the windows. That's why most of the information and
Okay, I think we've lost it. Are you there, Mr.
that's why
Pumhu?
most of the people are not so that's what I think they need to learn from what is happening right now here in South Africa.
Okay, Mr. Pumhu, do you think ZEC is doing a good job?
Sorry, come again.
Do you think ZEC is doing a good job with in terms of announcing results?
No, on that one, no, I don't agree at all. They are not doing a very good job because in other countries, locally and internationally, if you're looking in Africa and beyond Africa, they announce the results as they come immediately. They don't waste the time like what they did in the last election in 2018. They spent almost 2 days without announcing the president, but it was so late. It was too late exactly. So I think they must change on announcing the results. They must not keep results for so long, man. Look, there is no any reason for doing that. They must announce a result as they come. That's why others, they feel maybe they are changing the numbers. So for them to come out clear, to be transparent, they mustn't delay the announcement of the results. They must change on that. So on that one, on the other side of voters' roll, they must make it also be open to everybody to see in time. Also, not to produce it maybe 2 days to the poll. No, they must do it in a better time so that everybody can verify. We as a complainant can lay his complaint in due time, rather than running around at the last minute. So I think ZEC must change. They must upgrade their standard of handling our elections in Zimbabwe, so that we will not see other people who complain. It's better for us to complain of intimidation. Then we know that we are facing the ruling party. But then if we have a problem with the ruling party and we have a problem with the ZEC, then it will be going to be difficult for opposition parties to do better. So ZEC must upgrade their standards.
Okay, I think at that particular point, let's bring this conversation to an end. Tomorrow I'll be back. I want to give you an update that ZEC gave to the embassies last week or a week and a half ago, so that we know where Zimbabwe is in terms of elections. So I'm going to give that that update. Then I want to just touch on the issue of violence. The elections here in South Africa, there is a lot of death that happens, and many people don't seem to know this, but the council elections are the most dangerous elections for candidates. There are many candidates who have been killed during this particular election and in past elections. So in terms of numbers, ever since 1994, we have got more than 90 councillors that have been killed during elections. So this is quite a, but in this particular case, what happens is candidates kill each other in the areas where, so if someone is campaigning in a particular area, one candidate could go and send some people to kill. So that is what happens in fighting within political parties. Very bad, resulting in death. Do you think, as we close, Mrs. Dzova, that violence will be a factor in the 2023 elections?
Thank you so much. Is all we know, our motherland, our nation, and violence it's always, though some of the information I don't believe, and but violence it's always been there because of those same people who influence people to do wrong things. But what we don't want is violence. Violence doesn't bring anything to our political parties. It's destroying each other, which doesn't bring anything to us. I think as people who are living in the 21st century, we just need to be normal. And I think it's very bad for somebody to influence you to go and beat somebody or to go and kill somebody. That person is your brother, is your sister, is your father, is your mother. Why should we kill each other? Instead of coming together, build our nation together, stand together, and have a peaceful nation. I think as Zimbabweans, we need to learn how many people died, how many people disappeared, how many people suffered because of violence. But what did violence change? It didn't change anything. Still, Zimbabwe is still in the hands of the oppressors. We need to change. We need the people who understand themselves. Only people who doesn't understand themselves are the only people who go and destroy others, who are being sent to kill your brother. You're being sent to kill your sister. What, for what reason? Nothing. For
Okay, I think I'm losing Mrs. Dzowaze and
in the elections, but we are not getting anything. We are just going to kill each other. We are going to fight each other. Tomorrow,
okay.
you want to go and borrow money to the same person that you were beating yesterday. What does that help?
Right. I think those are very powerful words, and we should end there. Mr. Pumhu, is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gambakwe. I just want to speak on the issue of violence that Mrs. Dzova just ended to emphasize on. We are Zimbabwe People's Action Party. We have come because there is a missing action in our politics. we are not going to be a political party where we are going to tolerate anything like intimidation and violence in post-elections or after elections. But we are going to make sure that we have created a level ground for each and everybody, a good atmosphere to carry out our elections. As we speak, Zimbabweans, they are so too much divided. There are divisions among the Zimbabweans because of lack of leadership on those who came before us. So we have come to correct everything that went wrong. So we are going exactly to do the job for the people of Zimbabwe. So we just want to let people know that we are here to work for them. Let them join us. We are eager to take our country forward. Thank you, Gambag.
Thank you, Mr. Pumhu. And Ms. Dzova, it's your last word. The ladies last.
Okay, thank you so much. You know, I always encourage people of Zimbabwe to do what is right. It is our time to change. It is the time to make the right decisions. It is the time to do the right things. We put God first, and we.
Okay, I think we're having a network issue, but I think we all had the point that she was trying to make. So, Zimbabwe People's Action Party, that is your political party, and your presidential candidate is Mr. Steve Mtambua, who is not with us today. And your website is zimbabwepeoplesactionparty.org.za. I always give new political parties a platform here every week to speak. As we go to the elections, we're going to be doing even more. We want to give everybody a chance to speak. There are many, many people in Zimbabwe who are able to speak, and the opportunity to speak is usually given to the bigger opposition parties. Thank you very much for joining me, and the people who want to see what is happening with the elections in South Africa. As I said, go to this website, results.elections.org.za dashboards. You will see every election result as it is added. Thank you, Mr. Pumhu, and let us go out with President Mnangagwa's speech at COP 21.
Mr. President,
thank you,
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to commend the government and people of the United Kingdom for hosting COP 26 and for extending an invitation to Zimbabwe to participate. I also congratulate Your Excellency, Mr. Sharma, on your election as the COP26 president. Zimbabwe has not been spared from climate change challenges, which have led to an increasing frequency of severe droughts and cyclone-induced floods. These, coupled with the economic sanctions imposed on us and the COVID-19 pandemic, have had negative impacts on the lives and livelihoods of the people of my country. The importance of solidarity and cooperation to tackling global challenges cannot be overemphasized. It is most unfortunate that the impact of climate change is disproportionately borne by the vulnerable communities which have contributed the least to the current stock of atmospheric carbon. Vulnerable countries must therefore be capacitated to mitigate, adapt, and build resilience to climate change. The expectation is that major emitters will scale up mitigation action and show greater interest in adaptation. Decisions at this COP26 should strengthen the implementation of current national determined contributions. It is further imperative that the said emission reduction targets are anchored on supporting, financing, and equipping countries to gradually and sustainably migrate from fossil to renewable energy. Notwithstanding that, as a country, we are a net sink I'm pleased to highlight that Zimbabwe has revised its nationally determined contributions and committed to a conditional 40% per capita greenhouse gas emission reduction target by 2030. Comprehensive strategies are also being implemented towards mainstreaming climate change adaptation and resilience across all sectors of our economy. The removal of the illegal sanctions imposed on my country will undoubtedly enhance the timely achievement of our commitments. Zimbabwe is open for business, and my government stands ready to welcome and facilitate investments from across the world towards greening our economy and achieving sustainable development, which leaves no one and no place behind. Mr. President, the demonstration of sincerity and good faith by members will help restore confidence in the new commitments made at this summit. Consensus on a clear roadmap for the new finance goal must be reached, while carbon trading needs to go beyond offsetting emissions to more practical action on climate change mitigation. Finally, let us all show bold and decisive leadership in tackling this weighty responsibility before us. Zimbabwe stands ready to collaborate with all countries and partners within the Committee of Nations to achieve our noble objectives. I thank you, Mr. President.
Uyo uko kuno apo pano mamuona kere